Namaskar, hello and welcome. Thank you for streaming into Freetext episode 2. Continuing to shoot from home, I am Prabhu from Gurgaon.
Hi, and my name is Sushil. Thank you again for streaming into Freetext. In today's episode of Freetext, we will try and explain why India is not poor and how we compare when stacked up against the so-called advanced economies of the world.
बेटा हमारे पास इतने पैसे नहीं हैं. This is a statement that will resonate with most Indian kids. Okay? Not Indian kids. Another statement that's almost permanently etched in our minds is यार गोरों के पास बड़ा पैसा है. हाँ सर आपके पास भी है.
Okay, so unlike the great Rahul Gandhi, we aren't suggesting that poverty is just a state of mind. Neither are we saying that India is an ultra-rich nation. At Freetext, in this episode, we will give you a fresh perspective on how India stacks up when compared to the rest of the world.
So how poor is poor, and should income be the only indicator of wealth? So let's assume I live in Delhi and I make about 1 lakh rupees a month. At the end of the month, I end up with a debt of 15,000. Whereas Sushil, who lives in Jammu, makes about 50,000 a month and is able to still save about 10,000 each month. So who's richer in this case? Vijay Mallya, of course. Let's find out in our month ka mudda, kaun kitna amir.
To help you understand this perspective in a bit more detail, we at Freetext, like always, have done some number crunching for you. Take a look at your screen. You will find that the 4 countries, US, France, Germany, United Kingdom, which are pitched against India on some vital parameters, make more money than India. Let's say Sushil in this case. But they also have higher debt and more people homeless as a percentage. And India, if you notice, is at par with the rest of the world on almost all parameters, but continues to be perceived as a poor nation. Even though, by official definition, we are now called a lower middle income nation. This is exactly how a Vijay Mallya is considered rich and Sushil middle class.
And this is by and large how poverty estimates are made by top organizations like WHO, World Bank, IMF and so many more. A big role is played by optics here because a 0.15% poverty in India looks like this,
whereas 0.5% homelessness in the UK looks like this. Providing some more context, let's take an example of 2 people, Lisa and Shikha. Lisa, who now has a job in New York, and Shikha, who found her first brick in Mumbai. To create a comparison, let's give these 2 people an average per capita in the US and India. With the help of this graphic, we will try and explain how the middle class stories are similar across the globe. Take a look at Lisa. She earns about $53,700 a year, and after she pays 21% in taxes, her net take home is $3,500 a month. She now needs a place to stay, so she chooses a more pocket-friendly Queens since she can't afford a Manhattan. She now needs a place to live and rents out a 1 BHK apartment for about $2,500 to $3,000 a month. Now Lisa is young and wants a reasonable life with some occasional eating outs and partying at least once in a while, for which she spends another $1,000 to $1,500. This is the basic middle class life in New York, and this will cost Lisa about $4,000. And by the time she finishes the month, she'll be short by about $500. Meanwhile, Shikha decides to call a more reasonable place like Malad or Goregaon her home, since she cannot afford Juhu or Bandra. On an annual income of about 5 lakh rupees and after paying 5% in taxes, she has about 40,000 rupees to fend for herself. Shikha is brave and somehow manages to get 1 BHK apartment in Malad despite being a single woman. She spends about 25,000 rupees on rent and spends another 25 to lead a reasonable life. But at the end of each month, she falls short by about 10,000 rupees. And this is what happens at the end of each month. Hello, Papa? Hi. पापा वो थोड़ा पैसे ट्रांसफर कर दोगे क्या प्लीज?
Yes, both Lisa and Shikha could have shared apartments, cooked more often at home, partied much less and saved so much more. By phone लगाओ जरा इनकी मम्मी को जरा. And frankly, this is how middle classes around the world manage their expenses. And regardless of whether you live in Queens or you live in Malad, the average per capita income is equally as limiting.
Moving on from middle classes to some real-time poverty statistics, so that we are not accused of selective analysis. As the world evolves and becomes more prosperous, these poverty lines are altered based on public perception, based on what is considered as essential. For example, in Delhi, an air purifier is an absolute essential. In Jammu, it is not. Look at the greenery around me. I don't see a necessity of an air purifier here. Likewise, in the US, a car is an absolute necessity, whereas in India, we can do with bikes and auto rickshaws.
Given this, now nations look at a metric called as extreme poverty or deep poverty, which is possibly the closest description of real hunger and poverty. Let's understand how India stacks up when compared to US and the UK on extreme or deep poverty metrics. In fact, even here, India's extreme poverty rates are comparable or in fact slightly better than the US and the UK. So we're not suggesting that just because our friends are failing, let us also have fun and poverty will go away on its own. What we are telling our parents, which in this case is the public of India, is that Sharma ji ke ladke, which in this case will be US, UK, France and Germany, are not as bright as they thought, and in fact in many cases we Indians are much better than them.
Okay, well, reporting anything positive on poverty, especially in a country like India, is a red rag to activists who will either call us as ignorants, elitists or even as bhakts. However, as a matter of fact, we as a nation have come a long way. From 125 million people living under extreme poverty lines in 2016, we'll be down to 15 million by the year 2022. That's a big jump. And like Nawaz Bhai says, India is not poor anymore. And hasn't been so for the best part of this decade.
So in summary, India is not poorer than US, UK, France and Germany. If anything, India has only a more stable economy than the US and its European cousins. Our poverty rates are declining rapidly and are comparable to any other so-called advanced nations of the world. India's poverty is magnified by sheer population, infrastructure, cleanliness and other factors. And Nawaz Bhai, I didn't even say the color of the skin. Middle class life sucks no matter where you are.
And now that you know how we stack up on the global league table, we must not fall prey to the widespread global reporting depicting India as a poor nation. Hey, if you throw enough mud at someone, some of it will stick. And that is exactly what is happening by constantly reporting the real India as a hungry India, a perception that has been created at home and away. Now this negative media rampage can only be silenced if we start rejecting stories based on anecdotes and seek all-round facts on the issues that matter. To understand this better, try searching Real India on Google, and these are the images of real India that Google will throw at you.
And mind you, this may not just be the case for India, but for a number of nations who are steadily marching towards prosperity and middle income status. But their image is also being systematically tarnished as poor and unstable. Not you.
So in a nutshell, what we are not saying is A. Ignore the problems at home because the rest of the world is also as bad. B. India is a rich advanced nation. And C. Poverty is only a state of mind. In fact, what we are saying is,
we're not a poor country at all. Our levels of prosperity are comparable to most large nations. Our levels of problems are also comparable to most large nations. Each one of us should have a full perspective on how we stack up on the global league table on various accounts. And we must not benchmark the US or the Europe for prosperity since they have been in steady decline, and India must chart its own direction here on.
let us know about the topics that affect you so we get to work and bring out some solid perspective for you.
Once again, thank you for streaming into Freetext. I am Prabhu.
And I am Sushil, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please like, share, subscribe and troll us in the comment section below. And do follow us on Twitter as well.
Leaving you with some more interesting facts. Stay home, stay safe, stay informed.